Hey guys, it's Reborn here, and today's video is gonna be more personal. I'm gonna be talking about something that I've been dealing with my whole life, and as you can see by the title, it's living with social anxiety. I might not look it, but I've been living with social anxiety for the majority of my life. Growing up, I always thought I was kind of the shy guy, very quiet, kept to myself a lot. And maybe I was for a period of time, but a lot of people don't truly understand what social anxiety is. And to be honest, I truly didn't understand it until these last few years. I also think there's an added pressure of having social anxiety while being black and while living in one of the biggest cities in the world, New York, which I'll kind of get to at the end of this video. Social anxiety looks different for everyone, and in this video, I'm going to give some insight on how it kind of looks for me. Maybe it might look different for you, but maybe you could relate to how it looks for me. One of the biggest symptoms I face while struggling with social anxiety is overthinking almost anything. I overthink talking, I overthink what to say, how to say it, stuff like that. It gets really bad sometimes. Sometimes I overthink entire conversations in my head before they even happen in real life. An example of this is kind of if I have to make an appointment or something, I'll overthink what the person on the other line will say and then how I would respond and then what they will say and then how I would respond and like play out a whole conversation in my head before I even make the phone call. And that's some people might think that's kind of good, but to me, it's just so draining and so annoying. And then even after that, I overanalyze the conversation afterwards, like it's like a sports segment. Like I'll overanalyze if I said something wrong, if I said something in the wrong tone, or if I didn't speak loud enough, or things like that. And it's just a big old loop of exhaustion. And I think that's something I'm trying to do less of is overthink and pre-planning conversations and things like that. Another symptom of social anxiety I struggle with is it's an extension of the last one, but it's avoiding social situations and people. So because I overthink situations, I kind of just avoid people. That's it's kind of crazy to say, just like saying it out loud, but like I kind of avoid people, try not to have any of those chit chat conversations randomly. And luckily, kind of living in New York, people aren't like eager to talk to people. That's kind of like a good thing, but like you also do want those social skills to kind of have those conversation skills to be able to kind of chit chat with people. So like it's a good and a bad thing to have. Another issue with social anxiety I face is the fear of being impulsive. And that kind of sounds strange when you think about it, but like for me, when I say that, I mean it like an example of this is I like to go to the movies by myself, but like when I do go to the movies, I almost have to pre-plan it, kind of like what I said in the beginning with overthinking. I have to pre-plan like when I'm gonna go, what time I'm gonna go, which movie theater I'm gonna go to, and like sometimes I wish I could just snap my fingers and be like, okay, I'm going to this movie theater at this time today. Instead, like I have to pre-plan things like almost a week in advance to get myself ready and hyped up to go just to see a movie that I've done so many times already. So impulsiveness are kind of a fear of being impulsive is kind of like I fear doing something just on the mark without overthinking because I'm so used to overthinking. And those are like three of the big symptoms of anxiety I have, social anxiety I have. And that's not even to mention all the physical traits of anxiety, such as racing heart. I over sweat, especially in the summer. I sweat just stepping outside. I hate it. And I also have like the leg bouncing whenever I get really nervous. Now, how exactly do I cope with all of this? Well, that's a work in progress. I mentioned that I like to go to the movies alone, but that's one of the things I had to teach myself how to do to step out of my comfort zone. Other things that I do to step out of my comfort zone is kind of like sounds silly again, but like kind of just taking walks around the neighborhood or going for runs, just kind of like doing things to get my mind quiet, basically, because my mind is like always spinning, if that makes sense. The next level of that, the next level of that, like getting your mind quiet is kind of hopefully being able to be more impulsive with my actions, right? Like I don't want to be super impulsive, like I'm in the store and I see something I want. and I buy. Well, I do want to do that, but when I mean impulsive, I mean like if I want to go to the movies today, I'll just go to the movies. Or if I want to try a certain food or something new, I go do that without overthinking it, without having a 10-minute conversation in my head about it, talking myself out of doing something. I'm also trying to step more into my hobbies. So some of my hobbies, like you guys have probably seen, I like anime, I like manga. I've been reading comic books for the first time this year. That's very fun. I mentioned I like going to the movies. I'm just trying to find more hobbies, things that I enjoy to keep myself busy and keep my mind quiet. Right? They might not be the best hobbies, and I'm still trying to expand my hobbies, but like those are hobbies I've had like the majority of my life, and like probably gonna keep doing those hobbies. So those are kind of things I like to do to keep my mind to try to help keep my mind quiet. And I also want to continue to like, get out of my comfort zone. So like recently, well, it wasn't recently, but last year I went to Anime NYC for the first time. I was around a whole bunch of people. I was kind of nervous, but I pushed through it, and I had a really great time. And like doing stuff like that, I want to continue to do because I think that will continue to help me push through my anxiety issues, and kind of make me a better person. And then on the topic of, um, I mentioned that I have social anxiety as a black man, and I don't really know exactly what that means. Like, I don't think there's necessarily a difference between having anxiety and what race you are, but I mentioned that in the beginning of this video because I think there is like not a stigma, but there's like a presentation around black guys, I guess, that like black guys are always super confident, kind of, I don't want to say loud and abrasive, that's kind of OD, but like black guys are like confident, they got swagger, that kind of stuff. And like, I do have a little swag, but like, I'm not necessarily the most outgoingly confident person, which is something I'm working on, and something that like I think my social anxiety kind of holds me back from. And I think that's something I'm trying to correct. I'm trying to be more confident by being less socially anxious, if that makes sense. So why did I make this video? Just to share my story and seeing if others could relate, and that, seeing if others learn that they're not the only ones going through this or dealing with this kind of issue alone. You don't have to pretend to have it all together. You don't have to pretend that you don't have social anxiety or anxiety. It's perfectly fine to have anxiety, but I don't think it's perfectly fine to like keep sitting in your own anxiety. I do think you have to keep doing things to get your mind quiet. I think that's what this video is really all about. Like, what can you do to keep your mind quiet? Whether that's stepping out of your comfort zone for the first time, whether that's doing your hobbies, reading, writing, playing games, learning music, knitting, coding, whatever your hobby is. Like, step more into your hobbies to quiet your mind and to lower whatever anxiety you're feeling. And I also made this video just to like, again, to talk more. I'm trying to get used to talking. I'm trying to get used to putting myself out there. This is how I'm putting myself out there. I'm talking to the screen. I'm putting myself on video. Gonna upload this video to YouTube. Many people might see it, maybe nobody might see it, but that's not really up to me. That's this making this video and uploading this video is gonna be an accomplishment in itself because that's out of my comfort zone. And regardless of how many people watch it, I made improvements to dealing with my social anxiety. So let me know if anybody else has anxiety in the comments below. If you want to talk about it, how do you deal with your anxiety? How do you deal with keeping your mind quiet? And thanks for watching this video, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Be born out.